Howdy, Beefalo Bard here, and welcome back. In this episode, what we're going to do is create our first weapons pickup. Now, as we roam around town, kind of want something semi-logical for, well, I don't know, where we want a weapon to spawn from. So what we can do is find one of the police stations. There's a couple of them. We're going to come over to here. And for now, we're going to go ahead and grab our player start. And it's way over there. We can click on it and drag it over to here. So now, since we're starting as a police officer, we might as well start off by the police station, right? Alright, so now if we hit play, we start off in front of the police station. So what we need to take a look at is creating our first pickup item. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in the main content folder, I am going to create another folder called Assets. And then in this folder, I'm going to create a new folder called Pickups. Now, thankfully, we have inside the Polygon Heist mesh folder. We have two folders. One is weapons, one is weapons rigged. Now, the weapons folder is going to contain static meshes. The weapons rigged is going to contain skeletal meshes. Thankfully, it makes it a lot easier having both, that we can actually use the static mesh for our pickup items. So the first thing we also need to do is, since we have our character mesh, we want to go into our skeleton. And as we look at our skeleton tree, we actually have this guy selected. Let's go ahead and change it over to the male police officer, since that's what we're using. In fact, for the giggles of it, let's change it over to the FBI character, male FBI, because he's already got a holster, and we want to utilize that holster. Okay? So, first thing we need to do is create a socket for the pistol to go to, and then we'll create another one later for the rifle to go to as well. But we need to find the best possible location for it, which for this case is going to be thigh_R, which is right here. I'm going to right click and I'm going to add socket, and I'm going to call this holster. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to right click on that again, add preview asset, holster, and we want the static mesh. Now, we're not going to keep this one visible at all times, but we need to go ahead and change to the correct transform so that we can bring that out. We need to change our rotation. So that it looks correct. Now, again, we're not going to keep this one. We're actually going to go ahead and, in fact, instead of utilizing the holster, I'm going to delete the holster static mesh. I'm actually going to add a preview asset of one of the pistols, and we're going to use the SWAT pistol, and we're going to utilize that as what we're going to position. And we just want to move it around so that it looks like it's in the right position to be inside the holster. Scale looks a little bit off for these guys, but not our primary concern for right now. And we'll just leave it like this. So that's good enough for now. So we'll hit save. And since we're here, we need to have, let's go with the right clavicle. We want to add a socket. And we're going to call this rifle, or right underscore rifle holster. It's not a correct term, but whatever, it'll work for now. And we're going to go ahead and add a preview asset, and we're going to use the SWAT rifle, or rifle SWAT. And what we want to do is move this around now so that we can simulate that we actually have a rifle on our back. And I'm going to go ahead and do some rotations and just kind of make it look like it's something that we're carrying on our back. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can kind of experiment with it, put it wherever you want, however you want. Honestly, I wouldn't carry a rifle like this myself, but, you know, whatever. So, there we go. That's close enough for now. So we have a place for our pistol to go and a place for our rifle to go. And I guess if we wanted to, while we're here, go to the hand R. We want to add a socket, and I'm going to call this main underscore hand. And then I'm going to go ahead and select an animation. Doesn't really matter which one, but idle rifle hip. Let's go ahead and throw that in there. And for our preview asset, let's go ahead and add in a preview asset. Let's go ahead and throw the AK-47 that we have inside there. Again, you're going to have to make some changes to it. Since it's kind of awkward to do while it's actually moving, you can hit pause. And if you do click off it by accident, you can just click back on it again. And the scale looks a little bit off. But we want to get as close as we possibly can. Again, it's not going to be perfect for right now. It doesn't have to be. This is something that we can screw around with as we need to get it just right. But for now, since we know that the weapon isn't going to line up correctly, we're going to have some socket alignments and whatnot. Again, not that big of an issue. Something we can correct later on. We just want it in the hands. Close enough for now. Spend some time, make it look right. The hands aren't going to be in the right position. You can see his hands going through the magazine. But again, we're not so much worried about it at this point. So in our pickups folder, we want to go ahead and right click, blueprint class, actor, and we want this one to be SWAT underscore pistol. And we'll go ahead and go into that. And what I want to do is come back into our weapons folder. I want to find the actual pistol itself. I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to add component and add static mesh. It automatically creates what we need. It's because I have it selected here. Whenever I create a static mesh in here, it will go ahead and propagate the correct thing. So what I'm going to do is reset my snapping on it, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. That way the pistol's laying on its side, and it looks like something we can actually pick up. So now, from the default scene root, we can add a new component, box collision, and doesn't matter what we call it. So what we need to do is go ahead and do that. We can actually scale it down if we want to, try to make it more appropriate for what's actually being picked up here. Doesn't have to be perfect, just needs to be close enough. In fact, that is good enough for right now. It's always better to have the collision box maybe a little bit larger. That way it takes some of the slop out of just walking over and picking it up. Alright, compile and save. And inside the event graph, we don't need any of you guys. We're going to get rid of you. So now, what we want to do is click on the box and on component begin overlap box. For right now, let's take a look at what we've got. And this isn't going to be replicated correctly just yet, so we'll get one thing at a time here. We're going to cast to player underscore base. Alright. Then as player base, and we're doing this from other actor. We just want to set it to where it's the player base that's actually picking it up. Alright. For right now, we want to grab this. We want to create the node destroy actor. And actually we don't need that. What's going to happen is once we walk over this collision box, it's going to delete the main actor here. Compile and save. And let's go ahead and head back into our pickups folder. We're going to grab one and we're going to throw it into the world. So now we can see that it's here in the world. It's kind of sticking through the ground just a hair, so we're going to go ahead and pick it up. Undo our snapping so we can slide it down, make it look like it's actually laying on the ground. And let's hit play. So, hey, there's a gun on the ground. We walk over and it disappears. Awesome. Now, we want it to be given to us. So we need to come back into our player blueprints. And we're going to create a new variable. And we're actually going to call this PU underscore swat pistol. Okay. Now, what we want to do is we want to come over to category and change from default and weapons pickup. So we've just created a whole new category just for that. And we can actually take this this crouch button down. We're going to put that into my character. Same thing with jump button down, put that in my character. By doing that, we're able to start cleaning up our variables as we go. So pick up SWAT pistol, compile, save, and then from player underscore base, we want to set, and we're actually going to be using we're set pickup swat pistol. Connect that in, and we're going to set that to true. So, whenever we do that, it's going to destroy the one on the ground, and it's going to say that, okay, we just picked up SWAT pistol. We're going to go ahead and compile, save, come back into player underscore base, and I'm just going to come over to a clear section right here. And from here, we want an event tick. And we also want to start cleaning things up and make it a little bit easier to mess around with later on, so we don't have too much clouding what we're doing. We want to add a custom event. Pick up SWAT underscore pistol. Okay. And from that custom event, we want to get this. We want to branch. So essentially what we're saying here is it true that we picked up a SWAT pistol? If so, then we want to spawn actor from class. We want to make transform. There's a bunch of different ways to do this one, but this one just works. The actor we're going to spawn is in fact, before we can do that, we actually need to go ahead and create another item itself. So in our assets folder, let's go ahead and create a new folder called weapons and blueprint actor SWAT underscore pistol. And we're going to add a component, which is going to be a skeletal mesh. And again, we can come back over, find the skeletal mesh in the weapons rigged. And we want pistol SWAT. In fact, to keep things simple, let's go ahead and close that and keep that one open. In our pickups folder, again, we want to stay organized. Pickup, hit F2. We want to add underscore PU. And then in our weapons folder, we want to F2 add BP. So we know that we're working with the SWAT pistol blueprint. Open full blueprint editor. Even right there. So again, we want to find that. And we can look at it. Lovely. Add component, skeletal mesh. And there we go. Pistol is there. So that's all we need to do with that for right now. So now that we have that created, we need to go ahead and tell that SWAT pistol blueprint. Alright, so now that we've actually picked it up, we're really going to ignore this make transform because we're going to use something a little bit different. We're going to attach to component. Come to right here. The parent is going to be the mesh. Drag that down here. Socket name is going to be holster. And the location rules, we need to snap to target on all three of these. Hit compile and save. So what we've done is we've created this as a custom event. So it's all set up to there. And from here we can actually go ahead and for right now we're going to go ahead and run that custom event. And let's see if that'll actually do anything. So normally I run this off an event tick and then collapse it as a function. But there we go. Now here's the trouble. Is if you notice my actor count, it is spawning over and over and over and over and over. So that's a bit of a problem. So let's go ahead and move these guys over. And we want to do this once. So we add the do once node. Compile, save. And there we go. It spawned it one time, and we're not doing infinite number of actors on it. So just by walking over the pistol and picking it up, it is now created as a item on our side. So we can see it's in our holster. So let's go ahead and do quickly the rifle itself. So again, we need the actor, swat, rifle, pickup, and in the weapons folder, we need swat underscore rifle underscore BP. So we come back in here, open up our blueprint, drag it over to here, weapon rigged, and that's it. So with it selected, we can now add component, skeletal mesh, and there we go. Now keep in mind, this does not have a magazine. It does not have any kind of sights or anything on it. We'll fix that at a later time. Right now, we just want that one to be there. And then for the pickup item, we want to go to that. We want to open it up. Anchor that to the top. Come back in. We want to find our weapons folder. Now keep in mind, this one actually does have the magazine, but no sights on it. Want to add component, static mesh. Want to go ahead and rotate it so it's laying on its side. Want to add a box collision to it. And let's go ahead and move the box collision up and resize it just a little bit. Again, take your time, get it right. I'm just trying to make it functional for right now. Again, we don't need these guys. And essentially we want to do the same thing we did with the other one. Click on the box. On the component begin overlap. And come back to our player base. We have picked up SWAT pistol, so we need to create another variable. And we're going to call that picked up SWAT rifle. Okay. Add that over to our weapons pickup. Compile. Save. Want to cast to our player underscore base. From there, we want to destroy actor. From there, we want to set picked up SWAT rifle to true. Go ahead and compile and save. And essentially what we're going to do is make a whole copy of this. So we want to create a custom event. And we're going to call this pickup SWAT rifle. We're going to add a branch. We're going to get that. Now, you can drag it over and do it that way. You can also pick up SWAT rifle, drag it over on top of the condition node, and it'll place it in there. There's other ways you can do it by using control or alternate, but for now this is just going to get us going. We want to do once. We want to spawn actor from class. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and copy all these. Link that to here. I want to change this to SWAT rifle BP. And let's make sure that we got the correct name for where we told it to go. So we know that the right rifle holster. I'm going to click that a couple times so it highlights. I'm going to Control C. And for now, here's what we're going to do. Is we're going to paste that in there. So that should now in theory work. So when we actually add the pickup in, so now the rifle's on the ground. We're going to pick up the pistol, no problem. Pick up the rifle, and we want to go ahead and ensure that we now pick up SWAT rifle. Compile, save. Pistol and rifle. So now we have them picked up. Alright, so we know that we have the rifle on our back and the pistol on our hip, and we are good to go. And it's only spawning them the one time. We can temporarily change over. Alright, so that's where we're going to leave it on this video. The next one, we'll go ahead and do a cycle of taking it from our back and putting it in our hands. Alright, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.